Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and DiscoveringBands.com. And for everyone watching right now, if you can share this video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm here with Batavia. How you doing today?
Very well. You?
Good. It's good to have you. Now, you want to start off and give us some history about the band?
Sure. Well, the history goes back to about 2001. Her and I met on LiveJournal for you youngsters out there, and we kind of came out of contact for a while, and then out of nowhere I remembered her and decided to get in contact with her, and several months later we moved in together and got married. Both of us kind of came from a musical background, and we kind of joked about what awful songs we should cover, like Muskrat Love. And
underrated song.
So instead of just talking about it, we just ended up doing it. And the whole lockdown thing, we couldn't go anywhere, do anything, so why not? We just hit the record button and record an EP and then another one right afterwards.
And what got you guys into goth industrial music to begin with?
You want to answer that one?
You first.
I was actually indoctrinated at a very young age. My uncle, he came from West Palm Beach, Florida, and I was up in Massachusetts, and we're listening to like MC Hammer and stuff. I'm like third grade, and he dropped KMFDM and Black Flag and stuff like that. He had some mixtapes, and he left them with me, and all of a sudden I'm going to school with like, dog chains with padlocks as a belt and, Black Flag shirts that were just Magic Mark or homemade, and, I'm like fourth grade doing that. And, it kind of progressed from there. I think, KMFDM was always kind of like a tentpole band for me, but I didn't really get into industrial music probably until they had a fan website that was mostly centered around KMFDM, but they had a video for Warlock, Skinny Puppy. And I saw that video, and I just left it on a loop all night. And, I fell asleep listening to that song, and the next day I went to Strawberries. I had a special order, Two Dog Park and Rabies, and after that it kind of spiraled from there.
Mine was completely different. I was not really introduced to anything industrial or anything remotely until probably my very late teens. I grew up in a pretty conservative household, so the wildest thing I got to listen to around that time was probably like The Doors, and I was a big REM fan, still am, but I had a friend that I met on another internet web chat site back in the day, and he mailed me basically just a compilation tape that he had made, a lot of bands from the old Reconstruction label from way back in the day, and like 16 Volt and a bunch of really cool bands on there. I believe a 9 Inch Nails song or something, and it blew my mind, completely blew my mind, and I just got lost after that.
Now, the new EP that just came out, how long were you working on that? And tell us a little about some of the themes of it.
We didn't work on that for very long, but there was a lot of hours sunk into it. And it kind of coalesced around this central story of this Russian girl who went to this gulag called Nazinsky, and I think we heard about it on a podcast or something. And I got this book about the history of the gulags and stuff like that, and we really started digging into the history behind that, and it kind of branched out from there. That's the centerpiece of the album, is these two songs that kind of encapsulate that story, but we work from the middle outwards, and some songs came together pretty quickly, like the title track. I sat here and recorded that in just a couple hours, and we couldn't think of anything else to add to it. Everything we put to it just didn't work. And so we just left it as is, and she did her vocal track, and that was it. I mean, we tried adding synthesizers and stuff like that, and it was just leave it alone. And the Upside Down cover of Jesus and Mary Chain, that was a pretty quick one too. It was the other songs that really we agonized over. I mean, there's a song called The Absinthian on there, and it had like 50 recording channels on it. I mean, it was just so meticulous, and so much stuff got cut out, and we'd add things, it didn't work, take them away, back and forth. That song, I mean, we were working on that right up to the release date, and I mean, that's one of my favorite songs I probably ever had any part of writing. I think it was worth the extra effort. Yeah. What's your take on?
The Absinthian was a pain.
It was a pain.
It was an absolute nightmare. It was what was really great was when we heard the story of the Russian girl, and I mean everyone who was in Cannibal Island, which is what they kind of called it, was horrible. It was just absolutely horrible. No one came out smiling. And we just heard the story of this one particular girl, and it caught us like, oh my God, the humanity. And, writing a story about her and kind of branching out into something bigger that touched everybody was kind of an easy transition for us for that album.
Cool. And I see you picked Upside Down to make a video for. What made you pick that song for a video?
When we knew we wanted to make a video, and we were going to do Quite Mean Spirited first, but I drive around. I drive an hour to work and back, and like a complete egomaniac, I usually only listen to my music. And it's usually just to test it, hear how it sounds in the car. And sometimes you pick up on things after listening to it so many times. But that song I'd listen to a lot, and here's this soundtrack to me driving down this highway, and as I'm driving to work, I'm like, that'd be a great video. It's just to make a driving video. It just it just visually seemed to fit, and so that took a couple of weeks to get all the shots together. It was neither one of us have any experience in video editing or anything like that, so it was a pretty big learning experience for us. I mean, I've chopped up stock footage and stuff like that, but we went out with our cameras, and we got a dash mount for our cell phones, and got all the road footage that way. But we actually used our DSLR and green screened out our garage, and shot all the interior shots in there, and spent a couple days actually editing it together. But I mean, it's not bad for a first effort. Yeah, I mean, we were going to work with some other videographers, and the price was a little out of our budget, and it's not like we wouldn't want to pay that kind of money, because they are worth it. But at the same time, like, I really take pride in, like, when we do something, like, we do it. That's our thing that we made. And I would like to work with another videographer in the future, but it's also another craft I think that I'd like to have in our tool belt, is to be able to put our own videos together.
Well, that video came out amazing for your first video, so you'd never know that you didn't have any video skills, so it turned out well.
Thank you.
So what are you guys currently working on? Are you working on any more new music?
Yes, it's kind of coming together right now. We've got a remix EP, or it could be LP length, depending. We got some new tracks and some tracks we've worked on with some other artists, and there's no central theme. It's all pretty loose, but we've got some pretty big names on there doing some remix work. We're doing some remixes ourselves. We might squeeze in that Muskrat Love cover that she's been egging me on, and I said I'm gonna do it, and it's going to be the crustiest, grimiest punk rock.
It's going to be awesome. Captain and Tennille will be proud.
But yeah, I mean, so there's going to be some original songs on there, but it's mostly a remix effort, and we want to use that as kind of a lead into our next release, which we're just kind of outlining right now, and where we're going to go sonically, what kind of theme we're going to explore for that, and we would like to do something LP length, but we tend to think about things a lot before we do them, and I think for that, like, you know, we're really going to try to hone in on what our sound actually is, and we just recorded a song for one of the battle comps coming on for Tiger Squawk Records, and that has what I think is going to be our core kind of sound, and it's shoegazy, it's heavy as all hell, it's industrial, it's got pretty parts, it's got aggressive parts, it's just a very human sounding song, and you know, I think that's the type of industrial type music I like, is something that, you know, you listen to and there's some human emotion in there, in a emotionless kind of music.
Definitely. Now, the quarantine time, how have you guys managed to stay motivated?
All right. I'm motivated all the time. I have just a very compulsive work ethic. I wake up at 4 a.m. and work for about 3 hours before I leave to work, and then at work during the slow times, I'm emailing people and you know, trying to get remix work done, or you know, doing remixes myself, communicating back and forth with artists. Any type of promo work or press that has to get done, I'll do it on company time. I hope no one from my company sees this, but they know I get my job done too. But then we get home and we tend to schedule out our family time and try to, you know, make sure everyone is getting their needs. You know, we have a 9-year-old, so we try to give him all the attention that he needs, and he's actually really into what we're doing. I mean, like, you know, to have a 9-year-old's imagination and you know, see like a music video come together in his house, you know, that's really cool. And hopefully that will inspire him to you know, pursue that venture or something. But yeah, I'm just manic. I have to be busy all the time, obsessively busy. That's probably why, you know, we're able to throw a video together and, you know, fully edit it and with no experience. It's just mania.
You plan on doing another video for any of the current tracks?
I don't know. I think we're kind of tapering down on the things that we want to do for that EP. It actually extended out further than what I had anticipated. I was expecting by now to be sending out tracks for the LP to get remixed, and we haven't even scratched the surface on the LP. So it's a pleasant surprise that we were able to get that much feedback out of it and have to put in efforts to you know, appease the attention that people are putting into it. That's really great, and very grateful for the response that we had for it.
Very pleasant surprise, for sure. Yeah.
Congrats. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm glad a lot of people are liking it.
Thank you.
Now, if people want to look you up online, find your music on social media, how do they do that?
We're mostly active on Facebook, facebook.com/official Batavia. We have an Instagram, but it's, you know, not as widely used, but I think it's at Batavia Band, and you know, we focus a lot on Bandcamp because I think that's the best avenue for artists, and you know, I buy almost all my music on Bandcamp now, so that's official Batavia too, or batavia.bandcamp.com rather, and I think I set up a Twitter, but I'm a social media hermit. So that's not exactly the most productive model for an aspiring band, but try to keep everything kind of centralized, and Facebook is really the best place to find us.
And the name of the band, how did that come to be?
Oh, okay. So I that was my idea. I was listening to a podcast. I get these random history, tragedy podcasts all the time. And one of the stories that I came across was the story of the Batavia ship. And it was just an incredible story. A lot of people, I had never heard of it here in the US, but I guess if you're not here and you don't have an American education, you actually hear about these things. But it was, it's a crazy story of mutiny, alcohol, lust, greed, everything in this one murderous, crazy event. And I was blown away that I had never heard of this. So I went out, I listened to every single podcast I could find. I found an amazing book called Batavia's Graveyard. And that is fantastic. But the story itself is just so amazing, just so intense. And I was just like blown away. And I loved it. I loved the idea of everything that happened on that whole expedition. Was just every single part of human nature came out and was laid bare, no holds barred, and it ended up the bad guy lost in the end. And I guess lessons were learned maybe, but I came away from that story just feeling like every part of human nature was encapsulated in that one moment in time. And so I kind of was like, we really should consider this for a name. And after hearing the story, he kind of agreed. So that's where it came from. I know there's other Batavia things out there, but it's from the actual ship from a long time ago.
It's awesome name, so that's cool.
Thank you.
And are you planning on doing any virtual shows that the artists have been doing lately?
Yeah, actually coming up, there's Squawk Stock, which is a Tiger Squawk collective. We're doing that, and I think afterwards we'll probably try to hone our live set through virtual concerts. It came out of necessity that that's just the way things have to be done now. But it's actually a really good tool for bands to see what the response is for what songs are going to work, or what songs feel right to play live. So we have a live set, and that will be our first live show. But we've done it live. It sounds really good. And after that, who knows?
Florida just announced they're opening up. Are you guys going to do any live shows, if able?
Possibly. I would like to kind of perfect that in a virtual, which is kind of a little lame, because back when I first started, it was you're perfected at a dive bar and people tell you suck. That's how you found out. But I would like to. We're in Jacksonville, and there used to be 2 receptive clubs, and now there's 1. And I don't know what the draw is going to be down here. Not many bands come through here, and I think God Module came through, and I think they did pretty well, but probably only because no one comes here ever.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to hurt us to go out and give it a shot. And if we do live shows, I wouldn't really want to just book a night at the Goth Club. I would try to reach out to some local artists and not necessarily musicians, but the one thing Jax does have is a really, really vibrant artist scene. You know, painters and people that are just like there's like this traveling burlesque show and just all these like really eccentric type of creatives. I would rather reach out to those types of people and say, hey, let's get something going on, instead of just showing up at the goth club and hoping for the best when people just want to listen to goth music real loud.
Yeah. Well, it was good having you and talking with you, and everyone look them up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.